Welcome to Fort Worth 148's podcast, where we meet to discuss Masonic topics and strive to build value in the brotherhood. The opinions and statements of the participants do not represent any positions or stance of any Grand Lodge or Lodge and are solely the viewpoints of the participants. Welcome back to the podcast, brothers. This is Rhett Moore and nothing else with Fort Worth 148.
You're always something to us, Rhett. This is Billy Hamilton, current senior warden for Fort Worth 148.
And this is Gabe Yagish, junior warden of Fort Worth 148, and we have a special guest today.
My name is Ruben Bazan the third. I am from Laredo Lodge 547. I am the junior deacon elect. Did I say that? Yes, junior deacon elect. Our installation is actually this coming Saturday, so I'm back in the line.
Oh, back in the line. Okay.
Right.
Did
Nice.
you step out for a little bit, or
I did. I'm actually a member of Zapata Lodge as well, Zapata 1402. In Laredo, the highest chair that I got to was senior deacon, and in Zapata, I got to senior warden. This was in around 2013, I believe. I dropped out of the line because I was traveling a lot for work. I didn't want to do a disservice to the fraternity and to the lodges, so I backed out. And so I think even with my baby boy who was just born, 7 weeks ago, I think I have managed to find the time to get back into the lodge as much as I want to. And, I'm ready to go.
I love that. Yeah.
Nice.
You find out where you can squeeze it in.
I'm sorry?
You find where you can squeeze it in.
Yep, exactly. So, I'm excited about it. I was steward 1 year, too, for Laredo Lodge. Being my year as steward, I had a lot of fun, actually. A lot of people don't like being steward. I found it very rewarding. I'm used to hosting too. I think I channeled my, my inner Mexican or something. Just have this need to make sure that everybody's well fed and that the food is good. And I actually really enjoyed being steward. If I ever make it to past master, I wouldn't mind doing it again, to be honest.
Oh, look at you go.
Yep. No, I mean that's what I my parents are from Costa Rica, so I refer to that as channeling my mother.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Well, we've got some discussion questions on the docket. Rit, do you want to? Yes. I can tell you added these on here because we'd been talking about some of this stuff. Go ahead and kick us off with the first one.
So the first one I wrote up kind of as a parody. So what's up with the storage room? Anteroom. So the thing I see a lot is that nobody wants to clean it out, but a certain amount of guys in lodge, and they run into a bunch of brothers that are like, yeah, don't mess with that stuff in there. What do?
Does it belong to anybody?
See, you're asking the right questions. Because what I see, and what I see on lodges, guys just get upset when they hear no. It's like, man, try to find the middle of the road here. I mean, are the things being stored there actually essential and there's nowhere else they can be stored? It has to be in the lodge.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there some things we can get out of here, like this box of old candidate shoes? It's a little moldy.
So,
let's move it out.
Here's where I would start getting super annoying with the law book, and I would start telling if there's like an Eastern Star, light box in there. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the giant pentagon-shaped light box.
Yeah.
I know it's got a real name. I just don't remember what it's called. If there's an Eastern Star light box, or you're storing your Royal Arch gear in there, or the Rainbow Girls have their thing, or whatever, in your anteroom or candidate the preparation room, that's when you whip out the law book and you go, according to Article 223, it is not permissible to use anything else other than these items in the preparation of the candidate. And actually, that's Article 127. Sorry. Article 127. Article 127 says you can't use anything other than what's in Article 223. So you say, this can't be used. Now, do I actually believe that? No. But can you use the law book to your advantage? Absolutely.
What you're saying is, do I want to be that guy?
Yes, I want to be that guy. And I'm going to modify this quote so that it's air safe. But according to a past grandmaster whose wisdom I find particularly valuable, the whole point of the law book is to screw the other guy. So
that's a warm up.
So
it's like when you're at a bar with a friend and you're having an argument and you whip out Google to see who's right about it. Right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Kind of the best use of it. Is
but really though,
guy.
there's always a space. Like there's rarely going to be an occasion where you can't find somewhere that you can't shove something, right?
Right.
No.
And also, let's be real here. Most lodges have at least 2 rows of seats, right? And I'm not saying that this is appropriate necessarily, but when was the last time you packed your lodge that you needed all the seats? Chances are you might be able to fit a lot of stuff behind the 2nd or 3rd row of seats. And then that way, clear out the anteroom. All the guys that don't want to get rid of the stuff, you didn't get rid of the stuff. You just hid it behind the seats. You're fine, right? So, but the correct answer is follow Marie Kondo and ask, does this spark joy? And if the answer is no, check it out.
Well,
just tell it you made me happy once and throw it out.
So and my take on this really is that the candidate is the one who's probably going to look at the stuff in the anteroom more than anyone else, because as he's sitting there waiting for the moment when his degree begins, he is going to be freaking out looking at everything he possibly can. So the stuff you have in your anteroom, is that what you really want him focusing on in one of the most nervous moments of his life?
As he is sitting there in the anteroom by himself, overhearing your officers screw up the opening ritual and listening to them joke with each other.
Somebody's pessimistic.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Sometimes I'd like to be hypercritical because it draws more attention to the problem at hand.
Dave, you already sound like an old past master.
Yeah.
Well, I am a past high priest. I am a past high priest, so that works.
No, for me, the whole thing about this is Billy mentioned it, that they're freaking out in there, but they are hypersensitive to what's in that room, because if this is going right and they haven't got a bunch of ribbing or goat jokes beforehand, they're a little bit nervous about what they're going into. So they're just looking around that room, taking it in, and there's probably going to be something in there he'll never forget. Make sure it's not an old shoe kind of thing. But also you're going to have to do the work to make that happen. You can't just go and launch and say, hey, we need to clean that room up. Have a plan. Where could it go? Can things be consolidated? Take a walk around your lodge room and figure out, why things are where they are and if things could be shifted around to fit some of that in there.
Mm. And honestly, one of the biggest things that you can do is put together, it can be a Word document or preferably an Excel spreadsheet. But if you're not good with Excel, just put together a Word document and have, headers or different pages for everything. And at the top of the page, write lodge room. Okay, then you write down everything in there that's not in Article 223, because Article 223 contains the minimum stuff that you need to operate as a lodge, right? So assume that you have the minimum to operate as a lodge. Anything that's not in there, write it down. And then lodge room, closet, northeast. Okay, and then you write down everything that's in there, whether it's extra Bibles, presentation aprons, Master Mason's degree team costumes, things like that. Extra Tyler swords, stuff like that. Lodge room closet, southeast. Anteroom 1, anteroom 2, anteroom 3, if you have 3 of them, right? Hallway closet, Tyler's room closet, Tyler's room, right? Like, are you storing things in the Tyler's room? Put together a Word document, And for each room, have a different page. If you need more than 2 pages, God help you, but okay. Or if you need more than 1 page per room, God help you. But then just inventory everything that you have and go, okay, well, what is that? Do we need that there? Can we move that to another room, right? So inventory your physical possessions as a lodge and then go from there.
I'm a little jealous that y'all have a Tyler's room.
Well, it's just the room that you walk into right before you walk into the lodge, really. It's
a foyer.
Right.
Yeah, a foyer. If we want to get all technical, a foyer, yeah.
The Tyler's foyer.
Although legally, according to the law book, they would all be considered an anteroom, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
So you just have the anteroom that the Tyler sits in and then the anteroom that the candidate is prepared in. What other questions did you have, Rit?
I want to talk about MasoniCon because I still see on our, and I'm sure most of our listeners are familiar, but just in case they're not, I see a lot of guys posting, what is MasoniCon? You know, they're not as common as they used to be, but what is it?
It's a big get-together with a lot of speakers, and we all listen to a bunch of speakers talk about educational subjects, and we have a great time, and we ask the speakers stupid questions, and we go over time because we're having such a good time. You know, we run over time on every time slot because we're having such a good time with the discussion and Q&A for the educational subjects. We have a pretty good meal for lunch, and then we all pile in to listen to a keynote speaker. And then we all go and have a lot of fun at dinner afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this year we're actually having a dinner the night before as well, with a festive board. So, which I'm still in the process of rewriting the Fort Worth Lodge festive board script for the Texas MasoniCon festive board. So I'm adapting.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's got to be different.
Those tickets are. It's true. Those tickets are going quick, so
yes,
you better act now. And even if you can't go to the event on Saturday, tickets are open for the festive board the night before if you want to go enjoy that with us.
And seating is limited to 45.
So, did you also mention that we will have a couple of vendors there?
Oh, yes.
That's
Billy. I don't know.
Next to the
is
speakers.
There a vendor that we know that will be there?
I know there's one that's going to be taking up 3 tables.
Oh, how about that?
Yes.
Is there one that specializes in etchings and laser engravings?
There may be. I heard something about that.
For any of y'all who have seen Billy and his wife Betty's awesome work online through Mercury, is it Mercury Crafts?
Yeah, it's Mercury Crafts.
So Mercury Crafts is the vendor arm of the Mercury Scholarship Foundation, and that's what they use to provide scholarships to kids that are in Masonic youth groups. So Billy and his wife have a table at MasoniCon this year.
Yep. Actually, and
again,
by the way, is there someone else who's going to be grabbing a table there that may be hereabouts?
Possibly. I don't know if people have seen the design online because I haven't really posted much of it, but my wife and I will have a table at MasoniCon as well. And
there you go.
We'll be selling T-shirts with a big old tattoo style, like old school Jerry Saylor style tattoo skull on it. And it says duly and truly prepared in scroll script on the top and bottom of it. And,
can you save me a kid's large?
A kid's large.
That's just way better than an adult small for me, really.
To be completely honest, I don't know that we ordered any smalls because we were like, hey, we're selling this T-shirt to Masons. Why would we order smalls?
Darn it. All right.
So I think
maybe next year you'll think of us. I'm actually an adult medium.
Yeah, so we've got mediums.
Yeah, Mason small, extra large.
Yeah. I mean, really, though.
We did, from the survey last year, so we bump the start time up to where registration is at 8 o'clock this time, and speakers will start at 9. So it's not at the crack of dawn.
Yeah, we may have gotten some input on that.
Well, we did. That was all from the survey. That was one thing the majority of people said they would change, as well as longer speaker times. Now, we went from 6 breakout speakers to 5, but instead of 45 minutes, they all get an hour.
Yeah, and that 15 minutes makes a huge difference, because then they can shoot. They can shoot for a 40-minute talk and like 15 minutes of Q&A, and you still have 5 minutes to use the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever.
Yeah, well, and I did. Of course, you'll have breaks in between to where while the next guy sets up, you can chat with the speaker, for 5 or 10 minutes,
right?
Or fellowship with your brothers, or go buy something from the vendors.
So that's something else you get out of ordering a ticket is afterwards we will ask your opinion and we will actually pay attention.
Yes, because unlike many Masonic bodies, we actually listen to our clients. How about that?
And of course, lunch is provided. I think we're having Pearl Snap burgers this year.
Pearl Snap Kolache's burgers.
Oh, yeah.
They're delicious. So,
yeah.
You'll be well taken care of. Great speakers. Let's see. We've got Paul Rana, Jim Rumsey, Joseph Wages, Kevin Main, John Tolbert, and the keynote is Brent Morris.
Yep.
So
the big 6, huh?
Oh man, no, not a single one of those are lightweights. It really and truly, almost every one of them could be a headliner.
Yep.
Jim Rumsey, his presentations are on point, and he's such a good orator.
Right,
and you're guaranteed. I've heard great things about all of them. Really.
Yeah.
Well, and we really had a great time with the guys that came up from Laredo last year. So this year that you're coming up, we're glad to have you in person. So.
I'm excited to be there, man. Yeah, I was not able to attend last year at another event out of state, but I shelled out the $69.13, tax included, and I'm excited. What I'm not excited about, I'm actually flying in that morning. The flight is at 5:30. Yes, the flight is at 5:30 in the morning. I should be in DFW at 6:30, dropping off my stuff at a hotel, and then just driving over.
Wow.
Wow.
Sweet.
Fantastic.
So the good thing about that, though, is you should have just about your pick of seats because I've noticed those early morning flights like that are the only ones where actually I see openings.
Yeah.
So, folks, this week our episode is a Fraternal Spotlight with our special guest, Brother Ruben Bazan III. And as already mentioned, he's from Laredo. And so we're here to talk with him about himself and about Masonry in Laredo.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be a guest on this episode. I've been following the podcast for quite some time now. Happy to be here, boys.
Oh, sweet. Great to have you. Ruben, can you tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the Masonic lens?
I'm 35 years old, 35 years young, I'll say. I just became a father for the first time.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. A little Mason in training, hopefully. My boy is 7 years old. He's Ruben Bazan the IV. And, I just became a dad. I'm a customs broker, which at the risk of sounding condescending, means that I am licensed by the government to clear goods in and out of the country. And I explain what I do because around 95% of the time they think I'm a customs agent. And no, that's completely different. The customs agent actually stands at the bridge welcoming people into the country. A customs broker makes sure that the goods that are coming into the country are complying with all the laws and things like that. You have to be licensed for that. I'm a dual citizen. So I'm licensed in both the United States and Mexico. Most of the shipments of my company are going southbound, which go into Mexico. But that's what puts food on my table. I was a columnist for a magazine here in Laredo for about 7 years. Writing is my passion, so I was able to do that. I'm kind of a news junkie too. So for a number of years, I taught communication studies at the university level here in Laredo at TAMU. And other than that, I enjoy Scotch. But that's as fancy as I get. I'm a t-shirt, boots, and jeans kind of guy. I do have a pair of Teskey's boots that I wear proudly. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I love them. And I moonlight. Well, I wouldn't say moonlight. It's at 6 p.m. I have a daily radio show here in Laredo as well.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
So what is it like a talk radio show, or is it music, or what do you do?
It is talk radio. It's Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 p.m., so I'm lucky enough to have the afternoon drive. And it's just contemporary issues, current events. I play music. I have guests from all over town. I've been doing that for a couple of years now, almost 3 years. I've had my own show for almost 2, but I've been on the air for about 3 and some.
Gotcha. That sounds fun.
I love it. I get to talk into a microphone and nobody talks back. I get to share my opinions. I actually really like reaching out to the community. So it gives me the chance to, talk to members of the listeners and, people that are interested in the same things that I am and how to improve Laredo. And it's been really rewarding. It's a passion of mine. It's a hobby that pays, and I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world, man. It's been a trip.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I'm also a Freemason. I don't know if I mentioned.
Oh, that's really weird. How did you learn about this podcast?
So speaking of,
what a coincidence!
When did you join, and how old were you?
I became an EA and this is a little embarrassing. I became an EA in 2011. Entered in 2011. Passed in 2012. Raised in 2013.
Oh, you took your time. Look at you. I'm
nothing embarrassing about
proud
that.
of you, man.
Yeah, don't worry. It took me 2 years from the time I was initiated until I was raised as well.
Yeah, so life gets in the way, man. And but I'm here and I'm ready to go. I was about 27 years old at the time when I became initiated, and I had to repetition for advancement and everything. So.
Yeah. And but I think it's important that we point out that, because there is a sense of shame because it's, if you go past your year, you have to repetition. But, there's something to coming back to it, because a lot of guys are like, oh, I went past my year. How embarrassing. And they don't ever come back.
Yeah.
So we should be able to, celebrate the fact that guys are doing it on their own terms. Own free will and accord kind of thing. That's important to us.
Correct. We've had we had a guy who was an EA for about, I want to say 25, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally came back into the lodge and he finished his work and he was raised. May have been even more. Maybe been even like 40 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, everybody takes it at their own time, and we have extreme cases like that. We've had another case also where there's this one young guy, 20 years old, I believe he's 20, and he was about to ship off to the Navy. He just took off about a week or two ago, and he was entered in April, and he was raised 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So this guy, he was working, and he took his 2-week vacation, and all he did was study. And he did it.
Good for him.
And he put in the time, and he wanted to be raised before he shipped out. Yeah. But yeah, we've got guys that are taking 30, 40 years. We got one guy who did it in 2.5 months. So
yeah. Well, and it all goes back to your cable toe, right? As you mentioned, life has a way of getting in the way. So, but there's no reason to feel like you're less of a Mason if that happens. It's life.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you're an EA or a fellow craft who was listening to this and has passed their year, or if you're a master mason who's passed their 90 days to return their proficiency, it's cool. The petition for advancement is just paperwork. As long as you're progressing in masonry by becoming a better man and learning from one another and having a good time and contributing to the general improvement of the world in yourself and in the people around you, then there's nothing wrong with that. You just have a little bit of extra paperwork, and it's one page.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just look at it as a little bit of paperwork. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, do it on your
no
own
one's going to
terms.
look down on you.
And even if they do, rain on them, because that's life, man.
Yeah.
If you don't have haters, you're boring.
Exactly. So, Ruben, what inspired you to join Freemasonry?
You know, I'm a member of a Greek letter fraternity too, Pi Kappa Phi. I was alumni initiated in 2010. And before the night of my initiation, I was with my big brother, and he told me that he wanted to become a Freemason at one point. I had heard the word. I was initiated into Pi Kappa Phi in Washington, D.C., so, Freemasonry abounds over there, as I'm sure you know. And so I started asking him questions about it. And at that time, this was 9 years ago, I thought it was one of those organizations where you had to be invited into. And he's the one that told me, no, you have to ask one to be one. And he gave me that spiel. He wasn't a Mason yet. So I went through Pi Kappa Phi, I became a brother, and I flew up to D.C. just for that. I was already living in Laredo. And when I came here, we don't have a Pi Kappa Phi chapter here. There's one at UTSA, but we don't have anything like that in Laredo, and I wanted something similar. So I remembered that my big brother had mentioned Freemasonry, and I literally opened up the yellow pages, and under fraternal organizations, I found Laredo Masonic Lodge, number 547. Of course, I went to Google as well, and I emailed the Grand Lodge. The Grand Lodge emails back saying, this is the secretary of your lodge. This is his email. I emailed him. He told me, come by my office, let's talk, and took it from there.
Nice.
It's been a great journey, really. But yeah, it all started because of my initiation into Pi Kappa Phi.
So it wasn't Grandpa that inspired you then?
Sorry?
It wasn't Grandpa that inspired you to join then?
It wasn't. I am that I know, I'm the only Freemason in my family.
Yeah, that's a rare anomaly itself. Just, you know what I mean? Not being inspired by Grandpa. That's the story we get 98% of the time.
Yeah, it's a very common story. Or, I had an uncle who had the ring, or I had a grandfather who, during his funeral, a lot of men showed up. And we have that. We have that too. But no, I'm the first generation Mason in my family. So here's hoping I create a legacy, Yeah.
So the most surprising part of that story is hearing Yellow Pages. It's been forever. We're letting our fingers do the walking.
I was going to make a joke about
a little behind the times here in Laredo.
What is this Yellow Pages you speak of?
I was going to say, kudos to Laredo Lodge for even putting it in the Yellow Pages.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how much they shelled out for that one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, and it's kind of cool, though, because lodges used to post, their stated meeting times and dates in newspapers and stuff. Like, you would just open up the newspaper and the lodge would be like, yes, we are having an initiation on this day. And I'm like, oh, man, I kind of wish we did that again.
Yeah, I remember old timers complaining that we didn't do that when I first joined anymore. They were like, yeah, we don't even run an ad in the newspaper. I was like, newspaper?
And I kind of like it just from like the old school feel of it, Yeah.
The nostalgia almost.
Yeah. Well, if we wanted to do it, we better hurry up because newspapers won't last long.
And so, Ruben, you mentioned that you have been an officer both at Laredo and Zapata. Which lodge did you join first and why?
I joined Laredo Lodge 5-4. I didn't even know Zapata had a lodge. But
Okay.
I joined Laredo Lodge. It's the only lodge in my city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Laredo Lodge and Zapata Lodge. Zapata's about 65 miles away. And
wow.
Laredo and Zapata are the only lodges in District 41. So I really had no choice. I had to join Laredo Lodge.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not something we're very, it's hard for us to imagine that. We got 31 lodges within 30 minutes anywhere we live,
wow.
Yeah. and that's just Tarrant County. There's 40 something in Dallas, but that's unique, because it's do or die there.
It's do or die here. Yeah.
You're going to enjoy it or not. So when it comes to the fraternity, Ruben, what do you see as the biggest strengths and weaknesses of the fraternity as a whole?
It has both, just like, any organization, really. For me, the biggest strength is that, Freemasonry offers the chance for guys to, improve their own character while at the same time working with other people that are different from them, to improve the world. It's one of the things that I like the most is that when people from different backgrounds come together and they're working towards a common goal. And I think statistically that's the strongest male friendships are based on that. When two guys are actually looking forward to something, there's that, cliche that women's friendships are more like face to face and men's friendships are more side to side. They're, progressing towards something or working towards something. Mm-hmm. What I like about Freemasonry, it allows its members to explore areas like leadership and money management and fundraising and soul searching, the history and organizational management, a bunch of other things that maybe they won't get a chance to work at in other organizations, and they get a chance to learn at what they're good at, what they're not good at, and what they can actually improve. Some brothers are good at some things, such as order and financial discipline, whereas others may be better at getting people excited about charity work or observing tradition and ritual. So learning about what we can do, what we can't do, what we can improve upon is actually great introspection, and it's part of our growth. I've always said that life is a journey, so if we can learn these lessons about ourselves, we're only going to get better. Something else, I was mentioning that these lessons we learn about ourselves, and that about working with others. Mm-hmm. And this is precisely why the trowel is actually my favorite working tool. I grew up in a growing city, and I'll never complain about it. I was born in Laredo, Texas. I was raised in Nuevo Laredo, like on the Mexican side, and then I moved when I was 18 to Washington D.C. I attended private schools my entire life. I won't complain about my education, my upbringing, and my circle of friends has been the same one since kindergarten, which means that very rarely were we exposed to people who didn't go to our schools or who knew our parents.
Yeah.
Much less were the opportunities to spend time with people who had, different faiths or who were from another race. And of course, it doesn't help that Laredo is 98%, Hispanic or Mexican. But, I went to college out of state, and, that's where I first stepped out of my comfort zone for the first time and began really interacting with people who were different than me. And Freemasonry further pushed that on me, and I love the idea of people from everywhere coming together under a common goal.
Yeah, I love it.
So I think those are two of the biggest strengths of our fraternity. Talking about weaknesses, and it happens with organizations that have been around for a very long time, is the aversion to adapt. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to use the word change because
you said it. It's the C word.
Yeah, and I did say it, but I don't say it because it freaks people out.
Yeah.
I And I feel like I'm implying for the fraternity to change in its entirety, and that's not what I mean at all.
Yeah.
At our lodge, we have an influx of a lot of young men who are interested in the history of the fraternity, and they want to see how it can improve. But discussions take time, and the minute you suggest an idea that is remotely new, people get upset. Since, we've been doing it this other way for the whole time, end quote. You know what I mean? So the aversion to adapt is what I see can really, hinder our growth or progress.
No, I think you really hit a nail on the head there. I mean, because something that we're really focused on at our lodge is the investigation process. And, we've done it a certain way forever in Texas. You got a petition as soon as you ask. And it served us well for many, many years, over a century. But, when it comes to guys coming off the internet, that doesn't work anymore. So that's one of those things that, have to conform to the way things are done in society now. It's the same as going from the pen to the typewriter. Those are the kind of changes we're talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing to the core of it, but when it comes to being relevant in society, nowadays you have to market yourself. I mean, everything.
Exactly. That's how most things are run now. Like you said, it's not at the core. We're not going to change that. We're not going to change Freemasonry, inherently.
Yeah.
But our approaches are different now.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between marketing and recruiting. Nobody wants to recruit, especially the younger generation. That's what they love about it, is there is no recruiting. But there's a difference between that and marketing. So we have to be able to adapt to those kind of changes that society throws at us. We've done it all along. That's why we've lasted so long.
Exactly.
So I think we kind of discussed how we improved the weakness. So what's your favorite aspect of Masonry and why?
Honestly, my favorite aspect of Freemasonry is the friends I've made. Being surrounded by people who have the same personal goals that I do. And we all understand the life struggles that we go through, and I love learning from each other and growing together, and it really binds us a lot more. Again, learning to work with other people. I had no friends who were Freemasons. None of my family members were Freemasons. I went in there alone, just the way I did when I took off to college. I took off by myself, and it's like, you hit the ground running because you really don't have a choice. Learn to adapt with other people. Like I explained a while ago, I grew up in a really close-knit community where everybody was comfortable because everybody knew who everybody was. And now that you're thrown into somewhere else, it's like, well, learn how to adapt. And now you're nobody. You know what I mean? These societies have been around for a while. Either the college one or the fraternity one or Freemasonry, or they've been around for a while. You adapt. You run with the wolves now. I learned how to interact with other people that were different than me. And of course, now I love all these guys. There's some of the greatest guys on this side of heaven.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, that's a great explanation, because there's so many. I mean, just the connection of you to this podcast, because I made friends with Robert Marshall through Masonry. You did the same. He connected us for this podcast. The way that it reaches out just seems mystical and magical at some points,
I love it. Yeah. Shout out to the wizard. Shout out to the Waco wizard.
The Waco wizard.
That almost sounds. That's awesome. I'll just call him History Bob.
History Bob.
History Bob.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So we ready to jump into subject questions?
Sure.
So first one we've got on here is, what is the population of Laredo?
We're a little over 260K strong and growing. Yeah, we've been growing pretty quickly, too. We've had around a 10% increase in the last 10 years. Currently the 10th largest city in Texas, and I'm actually proud to be from here. So about a little over 250,000.
So you only have one lodge there with that many people?
That's right.
Wow. So like you mentioned that you do have some young guys coming in. What do those numbers look like interested candidates?
What are you asking about? How many guys are we initiating a year, or?
I guess, yeah, maybe that, but just a sense of, because everybody that's interested doesn't come in, you don't actually initiate. They may go way one way or another, but in general, how many do you have, interested in joining on a monthly basis or yearly basis?
Well, let's say out of, I don't know, maybe 15 a year that come by, we'll initiate 7.
Nice.
In a year, 7 or 8. It can go up and go down, depends. But off the top of my head, I remember we initiated about 7 guys throughout this last Masonic year. And they've been progressing too, which is obviously important.
That's the key.
But they're young. One of them is 19 or 20, and the oldest one, I still consider them young, in their late 30s or reaching 40, and they still want to be a part of it. And they come by, they don't miss a meeting. We meet twice a month, second and fourth Mondays of the month. They're there for the meals, they're studying, they're asking questions about, who's available for, memory work and things like that. And I'm excited about it. Because we have been having, some really nice guys, some really good guys interested in the lodge, and they reach out through the Facebook page, and everybody's always kind of saying who's going to answer them first, because there's about 3 or 4 of us that administer the Facebook page for Laredo Lodge. So we get a message saying, "Hi, I'm interested. When do you guys meet?" Or everybody's kind of running to see who's going to be the first one to answer. in a lighthearted way, of course.
Yeah, well, that's key, because if you don't respond pretty quick, they'll, they could feel, disheartened.
Yeah.
So move on.
You know what I love about that, though? Honestly, the fact that in a city that large that you only have one lodge is everybody has to learn how to get together. I think one of the things that we have going on in our area, because we have so many lodges, sometimes when people take things the wrong way or get a little upset, maybe with or without reason, they just go to a different lodge. But there you really have to learn how to work through your differences.
Right.
Yes.
That is a plus of having just the one lodge, because I have heard stories of, brothers that say, "Oh, you know what? I kind of had a falling out with the boys from so and so lodge, so I'm just going to join this other one and petition for that one, or affiliate with that other lodge." And it's their right and everything. But yeah, here we're I don't pick Laredo Lodge. I'm stuck with Laredo Lodge.
Yeah, there is no second parachute.
Exactly.
But it kind of, I kind of get the feel that it would still have a small town kind of mentality, because there's not a lot of towns around it, right?
There are, but the majority of the people that go to Laredo Lodge are from Laredo.
Yeah.
Nuevo Laredo, on the other hand, just across the river, is larger than Laredo, Texas. I'd say about 600,000.
That is pretty big.
The outskirts of Nuevo Laredo are vast. So I believe there are about 6 lodges in Nuevo Laredo, if I'm not mistaken, and they're all in Amity. Bunch of great guys too. We often invite each other to visit each other's lodges. We love welcoming them into 547. We've seen the degrees that they put on in Mexico, which are vastly different than the way we do things here in the good old US of A. A lot of pomp and ceremony. So, yeah,
Interesting.
some of them are, dual members of Lodge in Laredo and Laredo Lodge 547.
Oh, cool. So you guys, do y'all do a lot of stuff together, or you just visit each other?
Well, we'll visit each other. Where we really work together is when it comes to the shrine. More than anything, we work with our Mexican counterparts when it comes to the Shriners. Or, Laredo Shrine Club, which I'm a member of too, works as, under Alzafar Shrine. We're based out of San Antonio. Huge shout out going out to all the San Antonio boys as well. And Aneze Shrine in Mexico, particularly northern Mexico. And they work very closely with us and helping get children to the border, applying for humanitarian visas so the children can get the help that they need in either Galveston or Houston. So the Laredo Shrine Club, our fundraising is mainly for the transportation fund to get the children and their families from the bridge to Houston or Galveston. And we work very closely with the Nuevo Laredo guys because they're the ones that are interviewing the families, talking to the kids, taking them to the bridge, and applying for those humanitarian visas. And they're there at 3, 4, 5 in the morning whenever there's an accident or something and they need to really send the kids up there. That's when you really see the work being done. And I love that.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's a unique thing there to be a part of, because that is Masonic magic right there at its best.
It is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful work. It's not to, toot our own horns or anything, but when I see it come together, when all the gears are put in motion, that's when you say, you know what, this is all worth it.
Yeah. Interesting. No, that was my next question, was what you guys, being so close to the border, what y'all would do together. But that, I didn't expect anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of some big fiesta you guys throw that I don't want to miss or something.
Oh, well, if there's something Laredo knows how to do is throw a big party. And y'all are welcome anytime. You guys know that, right?
Road trip.
Road trip. Yes, I'll put you guys up here. I'll, get you good and tacoed up.
Oh.
You guys will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, me a taco. No, actually, that kind of segues into the next question, because this is something I've heard about before. Brother Marshall had brought it up to me, is the George Washington birthday party that's held in Laredo.
The WBCA, yes.
Is it his birthday or Masonic birthday?
It's his birthday.
Birthday, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. The WBCA stands for Washington Birthday Celebration. That's the association. And ever since the late 1800s, 1898, I believe, Laredo has been celebrating Brother George Washington's birthday with a month-long party that, personally, I don't get.
I was going to ask, because I saw it on Day Tripper on PBS. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Chet Edwards or whatever, but he travels around Texas, and he went down there, and it was like, well, how did this get started? Why is Laredo revering so much? But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining in the slightest. It's a lot of fun. The entire month is filled with, festivals and carnivals and jalapeno eating contests and concerts, pageants, parades, air shows, fireworks, a debutante ball. My sisters were involved in it. Parades, you name it. There's a youth parade. There's, food everywhere. Again, it's a month-long party, really. And even when we have guests coming in from out of state, they usually mention, Laredo throws the biggest birthday party for George Washington, and for really no good reason. Like, there's no real tie. I don't really believe George Washington ever visited Laredo or anything. So there's no real tie. Not that I know of. Maybe if I dig deep into the archives, I'll find some kind of connection.
Yeah.
But they love celebrating George Washington's birthday here. The Shriners from San Antonio, they come down and they participate in the parade every year, and you get to smile and wave to everybody, and it's a grand old time. But it's actually a lot of fun, and if you guys want to check it out, It's been in the paper, in the Post. The congressman that I used to work for, he'll fly down. And one of the most beautiful events about that, about the WBCA or the entire month-long celebration, is they have an event in which they close the bridge, the international bridge, so all the cars have to evacuate. The Mexican government from Nuevo Laredo, or city council, they're on the Mexican side on foot, and then the Americans were on the American side, of course. And then each country sends two children dressed in traditional Mexican or American garb, and the two pairs of children will walk towards the middle of the bridge and give each other a hug. It's called the abrazo, and it really strengthens the connection between Nuevo Laredo and Laredo, Texas. And it's for me, it's the most beautiful part of the entire ceremony of the entire month.
What was the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Because they're little kids, and they're my niece was the abrazo child representing Mexico last year. Yes, in 2018. Wow. My sister was the abrazo child also in 1990, I believe, or 88 or something, representing Mexico as well. And of course, these kids are 9 years old. So to them, it might not mean so much, but it's cute to see. You're trying to get them involved in, the civics of the border town, and they give each other a hug, and then both mayors from both towns also meet in the middle, and they'll hug too, and it's kind of symbolic of the relationship between both cities. I think it's beautiful. After that takes place at around 7 a.m. And then once that's done, bridge opens up again. Everybody lines up for the parade, and everybody has a really good time. And that's the end of the birthday celebration. That's where everything ends, really.
I'm sitting here thinking of Fort Worth and Dallas mayor hugging it out in Arlington.
Hugging it out or duking it out?
Yeah,
oh, man.
More like duking it out.
And so, as usual, you forgot Arlington. Just Arlington is only scenery for you, isn't it, Red?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Shout out to our brothers from Arlington, whom we dearly love.
Yeah, that's middle ground. They're in between our fight.
Stop digging the grave, Red. Oh,
it's awesome,
man.
Though.
That is a cool tradition, though. I really like that.
I love it when people, drive down or fly down just to see it, because it sounds a little ridiculous, because you're like, well, there's a huge debutante ball. These women spend, $10,000-$15,000 on a dress that they wear for one night.
Wow.
It's the Society of Martha Washington, and it's the whole, anybody who's anybody participates in the debutante ball, it's, you got it all. You got jalapeno eating contest, which I've never participated in, and I never will. But, there's something for everybody, which is great. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a cool tradition, no doubt. I mean, who's not game for a month-long party anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what can you tell us about the history of your lodge?
Well, we've been around for 138 years. Mm-hmm. We were founded December 12th, 1881. We've moved a couple of times. We were, back then it was only downtown.
Yeah.
It was the only part of the city. And then from there we moved up a little bit north. I believe we've had 3 locations, 3 or 4. I believe the most current one, our lodge right now, has been there since 2001. We've actually never, and, depends on who you ask. Some people will say that's great. Some people will say, oh, really? Wow. We've never repeated a worshipful master.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, because I know in our early days, we had one guy that went 10 years straight.
Really?
Yeah. It was not uncommon.
Yeah, there were a lot of lodges that did that.
Yeah, we just
Zapata's history, for example, is a little different. And those will rotate. But Laredo Lodge, we've never had not that I remember. repeated worshipful master. It's always somebody new.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if you could gauge that as a healthy lodge. You know what I mean? If that could be a metric used, but it sounds impressive to me.
It does, because you say, "Whoa, you guys are having a lot of guys coming in," and at the same time, some people might say, "Well, don't send your ducks to Eagle School," kind of thing. Where like not everybody, not everybody. But they say, maybe not everybody's. What's the word I'm looking for?
They're just not built for it.
Not built for, but to be a worshipful master. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly the word. Some people will say that. Other people will say, well, everybody should get the chance at least once.
No.
But we have a pretty strong lodge, so
yeah. If you want to do it, I'm going to be right there helping you get ready for it. We'll get you ready for it, but you might not be, because God knows I wasn't when I got thrown into that position, and I don't want anybody to go through that. It's no fun.
No, exactly. I know brothers that say, I never want to be worshipful master.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's fine, yeah.
Do where you fit in. But I'm totally stealing don't send your ducks to Eagle School. That is such a sly way of being a complete just butthole. I love euphemisms like that.
Yeah, I got that from a book that I was reading on leadership, actually, and how to empower certain people. And it always stuck with me, just there are some guys that are not good at certain things. Don't send your ducks to Eagle School. Yeah,
that's greatness. That's awesome. So, where are we at? Okay, so Brother Marshall, he had mentioned too that you had worked on Capitol Hill in D.C. What did you do there?
I did. I worked for the congressman that still currently represents the 28th Congressional District of Texas, which is my own district. Mm-hmm. He was when I went in, I believe it was his first or second term. But I went from intern to deputy press secretary to press manager, liaison for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. I was there for a number of years, and, my job was to, be in touch with the press and the media from the district. Yeah. So, drafting his releases and preparing his interviews and things like that. But I loved it because, I was able to communicate my boss's work to the people of the district. And that was really rewarding too. As an intern, you do a little bit of everything. I used to give tours of the Capitol building and all that fun stuff. So,
interesting.
Was one of the first jobs I had. I was still in college when I was doing that. And I'm very grateful to the congressman who gave me the opportunity to work there because, I was a kid. I was 21 or something.
Talk about a fast-paced, high-pressure gig too. What a way to get you broke in.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the first job and only job really that I've ever had where I had to wear a suit and tie every day. So it also made me, feel snazzy and important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as much as we're all disgruntled with our politicians, they are doing important work.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that for a number of years. Again, it was very rewarding work. I miss it. I have a DC-shaped hole in my heart at all times. I miss the district.
Yeah.
But glad I came back too, because life brought me back here to Laredo, and I never would have met such fine gentlemen like yourselves and the boys from Laredo Lodge, and every Texas Mason that I've met has been so great to my soul, really.
Yeah.
I love the path that I took, and let's keep going.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting.
That's really cool. And so were they looking specifically for somebody from the 28th district, you said?
Yes, 28th district. No, well, I started off as an intern, and I'm not going to lie, y'all are probably going to make fun of me, but
yes.
That's okay. Well, the girlfriend that I had at the time,
we're already making fun of you.
Well, she told me, hey, I'm going to go visit the congressman that represents Laredo. You want to come with me? And I said, okay, fine. I had never been on Capitol Hill, really. I'd driven around, but never in the halls of Congress, And so we went up to his office and we shook his hand and said hi. And my girlfriend said, Ruben wants to intern here, which was not true. I had never said anything of the sort.
Oh, no.
So she threw me in there. And then he said, just give us your information and we'll give you a call and we'll get you started. And I'm not going to – this is where you're really going to make fun of me. I had no idea what the difference was between a Democrat and a Republican.
Oh, that's amazing.
I literally did not know because because I I was raised in Nuevo Laredo, so I was more I knew a little more about Mexican politics, and I've never really been a political person. It's difficult for people to know what my political affiliation is. Some people say I'm super liberal. Some people say I'm super conservative. You really, on the air, I don't talk about it. So, So I had to ask my friends, hey, I'm starting an internship, and I don't know. He's a Democrat, but I don't know what he does. I don't know what they believe in. So my friends in D.C. had to give me like a crash course on party politics. And then when I was working there, I realized that nobody was from Laredo. I said, well, okay, at least the congressman has one guy that knows the people down there or know what we think like, or what I mean?
Wow.
It wasn't a prerequisite at all. It just really, I found it to be, it makes sense for me to work here.
Mm. But you were like basically the only lifeline back to Laredo in terms of like representing actual constituents. Okay. Wow.
Exactly.
That's crazy to think about.
And then we had another girl that actually started working there. She was from Laredo too. I believe at most we were just 2 or 3, and then she moved back to the district office. So yeah, I was the person from Laredo that worked there the longest at that time.
Wow, that is crazy. So, a serious subject that we want to talk about is security at Masonic lodges. Your lodge.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
No.
Now,
I played the fifth.
Was your lodge vandalized?
It's yes and no.
Yes and no.
It's yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I remember that there was an incident.
Okay, well, I've been privy to 2 instances, and I'm not really sure if one of them is considered vandalism, because I'm going to give the wonderful people of Laredo the benefit of the doubt. But there's this one of the emergency doors from the lodge room that goes out is one of the back doors that nobody ever uses. It kind of opens up to, where the AC units are in the back. Just an area that nobody uses in the lodge. That door from the outside is a white door, and somebody spray painted a pyramid with an eye in it, like the all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
And but they were clearly, it was not one of us. Somebody went with a stencil and spray painted the pyramid with the eye in it, and it has been there ever since I've been a Mason. And nobody bothers to clean it up. It's kind of part of the charm of the lodge now.
That's kind of cool, at least. So you guys adopted it and took ownership of it.
Exactly. And it has been mentioned, hey, the thing in the door, yeah, somebody will get it, and it's not that big. It's maybe like if you cut a sheet of paper in 4, it's kind of that big.
Oh, so okay. It's really small then.
It's maybe, it's like the size of an iPhone 10, maybe.
Oh, wow. So it's pretty small then. Well, at this point, you just got a clear coat on top of it and preserve it.
Yeah, it's like just put some contact paper or something, because we've mentioned it. Remember somebody spray painted? Yeah. Is anybody going to take care of it?
Nah.
Maybe. At one point, it's kind of part of the charm of the lodge now, so nobody's really ever done anything about it. Again, nobody passes by through there. You really have to walk behind the building and look at it.
So realistically, it's going to be like the stewards that see that or something,
Yeah, exactly. Or the Tyler who's just kind of walking around while the meeting's taking place.
Mm-hmm.
that was the one incident. And then there's another one. I was at home, and the group chat on WhatsApp of the lodge starts blowing up. And they start saying, "Oh, I just drove by the lodge. Have you guys been there? There's a dead cat outside the door. And there are no cars there. We have no meeting today, but we don't know how long the cat has been there." And I said, "You know what? Let me go get it." So I got up. They made me put on clothes to leave my house on a Sunday.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Really?
Unacceptable.
Yeah. Sundays are my lounging and watching Jeopardy reruns day,
Excellent.
So I got up and I went to the lodge, and yeah, there was a cat there, maybe about 2-3 meters away from the door that we all usually use to go in. But it wasn't mutilated or anything. The cat was pretty stiff, and it was heavy too. It was like a fat Siamese cat. So I grabbed it and I just threw it in the trash. So I don't know if the cat died there or somebody threw it in there or threw the cat. I have no idea. Nobody really knows what happened. But I was happy to report the next stated meeting that I picked up the cat and threw it away, and that we are now catless. So, but I really don't know if somebody went in with malicious intent to send a message or something, or just to be a nuisance. But yeah, there was a dead cat. There's a possibility that somebody put it there. But
that is so crazy.
Yeah, no, those are the only two instances, really. Other than that, nothing's ever, not that I remember. Just the spray painted door and the cat.
Yeah. So did that kind of spook y'all for a longer period of time afterwards? Because I know you said the group chat blew up. Was that something that kind of stuck with you guys for a little while, or did that just kind of, oh yeah, it's just a dead cat, whatever?
Yeah, no, we forgot about it. We kind of started joking around after. I was like, "Hey, you should have kept it for the next stated meeting for the meal and things like that."
Oh, just turn it into the lodge mascot, dry it out.
Yeah, just kind of like taxidermy it and put it, as a watchdog or watch cat.
That's who you elect as the new Tyler.
Yeah.
You alarm yourself with the proper implement of your office. Ring. It's already got claws.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no, it was just those two. Nobody's really scared. I'm from Nuevo Laredo. A lot of us are.
Yeah.
Very few things scare us. Yeah.
You are one of the OGs, so to
speak. We are some of the OGs, yes.
Nice. So what are some of your personal Masonic goals and some of your lodge's Masonic goals?
Well, I can speak personally. And, in talking to a lot of the brothers from Laredo 547, and a lot of them agree that, I guess I should go back a little bit. Our 135-year pin has the phrase "bridging the gap," and there's an image of a bridge on it. I want two things. I want to actually, stick true to that and bridge the gap between, Texas Masonry or Laredo Masonry and Nuevo Laredo Masonry. I want to continue to solidify that. We have a really strong relationship with them, but I want to make that even stronger. That is one of them for me. And the other one would be having people really know who we are. We know Laredo is still a very strong, Catholic community. So, and what do, uber Catholics think about when they say Masonry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would like for South Texas Masonry, Laredo Masonry to, be a little, I don't want to say in the public eye, but, for people to know what we do, in terms of our scholarships and the Fantastic Teeth Project and the Lamar Medals and the Community Builder Awards and the, the First Responders Awards nights and, things like that. Some people know what we do. Not enough people know what we do. And I know we don't do it for the recognition, but just to kind of remove the stigma because of that strong Catholic presence we have here.
Right.
And
Well,
it's funny because once you start explaining to people, they say, "Oh, well, oh, okay." Well, and I say, "Do you know what Shriners are?" "Oh, I've seen them in the parades, and I know they have the hospitals, and that's great." "Well, did you know that all Shriners are Freemasons?" "I didn't know that." It's just kind of, clearing up a lot of the ignorance about what Freemasonry is. That's kind of what I want to work towards.
well, and it is possible because I know that a lot of South American countries and the Philippines, which are all heavily Catholic, are seeing like explosive growth there in Masonry.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that, like, I had a conversation with a family member, and I'm going to be vague, although I hope he's had the discussion with more of our family. A family member of mine has become a Mason. I'm no longer the only Mason in my family, but because he lives in Latin America and that entire side of my family is very, 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 very Catholic, he hasn't really told anybody,
Oh, really? He kept it under wraps?
Yeah, and he said, hey, like, I'm going to get around to telling people, right? But hey, show me around the temple, please, but, don't tell just don't go announcing it to everybody else. Like, they know you're a Mason, and that they kind of tease, they kind of make commentary about it, but it's not too bad, but I think they are fine with that because you're at a distance. I don't want them to find out yet because I don't want like an intervention to happen or anything like that. And so that was really kind of an interesting experience because, as a Mason in Texas, I go, oh yeah, no, I've got the thing on my, I've got a little decal on my car and I wear the ring and I've got a cap that has the square and compasses on it. And, I freely talk with people. Gabe, are you a Mason? Yes, I am. I'll tell you about it, right? And then,
Proudly,
meanwhile, my family member is like, I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but I think I don't want to talk about it. And that's, it's an interesting conversation, especially when you mention the populations of Laredo and Nuevo Laredo, like having that really heavy Catholic population, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still something that, and funnily enough, when I got married, the priest that presided over, our ceremony, he knew I was a Mason, and he had no problem with it. So when I say that to people, they say, "Oh, okay," they think it's worlds apart, and it really, it isn't. One is just an established religion. But yeah, when I had a relative of mine who, I was a Mason already, but I was also like your family member, Gabe, that didn't want a lot of people to know just yet. I was kind of like that in the first maybe 3 or 4 months, and when I was in EA.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with this family member of mine, and I don't know what we were talking about, and she says, "Oh, like the Freemasons, I hear that you have to murder someone in order to be accepted."
Oh my God!
I didn't say, and I didn't say anything until afterwards. About maybe a month later, I was having dinner with one of the other people that were in that group, and I said, "Hey, this person said that you have to kill someone in order to be a Freemason." And then he told me, "Oh yeah, I remember that being said." And I told him, "I'm actually a Freemason too." And guess what? I never had to kill anybody, And he said, "Oh wow, so you're a Freemason too?" This was in Mexico City, and Mexico City is, Freemasonry is pretty prominent down there too. And so now that this person knows that I'm a Freemason, this family member of mine, and she's really proud and happy, and she loves the Freemasons now, and she loves the Shriners' work, and she's donated to the hospitals, and but a lot of people have misconceptions about it.
Right.
That's something that we're always going to have, because if you're wondering if it's not easy to access what goes on in a building without windows, people are going to speculate.
Yeah. Well, and it's just, people will doubt something that they don't have personal experience with,
Exactly. Yeah. So, I've had that experience with me too. It's just, I'm like, I don't remember killing anybody, but but I'm a Freemason.
That's funny.
And I'm not a convicted felon, so yeah, that's one of my visions, is to kind of like let people know who we are, what we do, what we're about, and why we're so proud of the organization too. Because I'm a proud Mason, and and my friends know it too. My non-Mason friends, they know that I love it, and that that I have my meetings twice a month, and for them it's they don't know what we do, but they see that I'm happy and that we're doing good work and that the guys are great, and to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best advertisement you can have. It's like, I do this thing, I'm really happy with it, I hang out with some great people, and that attracts people who sometimes are like, I want some of that too. Yeah,
exactly. And that's kind of how you market it too. You can talk about your experience. You're not recruiting, but you're talking about the experience, and then slowly but surely, once a year, you'll get one guy that you've known for a while that says, "Hey, you know what? I'm interested."
That's fantastic.
So, it's all about the example that you set out.
So I think this brings us to our fraternal quote of the week, which is, "The secret of Masonry, like the secret of life, can be known only by those who seek it, serve it, live it. It cannot be uttered. It can only be felt and acted. It is, in fact, an open secret, and each man knows it according to his quest and capacity. Like all things worth knowing, no one can know it for another, and no man can know it alone." That's by Brother William Howard Taft, former President of the United States. So we're going to do some closing thoughts. We'll do Billy first, and myself, and then Ruben. Rit had to leave. He had a family commitment. So, Billy, you take the reins.
Yeah, so Ruben, thank you for joining us on the show. I'm still fascinated by the tradition of having the two children meet on the bridge. I mean, to me, that's such a symbolic, almost Masonic concept in itself, right? It sounds like your city is almost like an example of what Masonry should be, right? Because our goal is the brotherhood of man under the fatherhood of God. I mean, what a powerful statement to have as an actual city event. So that's fantastic. I love learning about your Masonic history and your lodge, and I look forward to coming down there someday.
Absolutely, Billy. You too, Gabe. You guys have your home here anytime, any day of the week. You guys are welcome anytime. If you guys want to make it to the WBCA, the Abrazo, and hang out for the parade too, it's a lot of fun. Y'all get to see it. Since my niece was the Abrazo child last year. So we were in the family box right in the middle of the bridge, and I was filming it.
Cool.
I was doing a live stream on Facebook, and I remember, I don't know if you guys know him, a gentleman by the name of Ricky Cox.
I may be familiar with him. I believe Billy hangs out with him every once in a while.
Well, when the children were actually giving each other the hug, I remember he commented something along the lines of, "That's what community should be like." And, that's Masonic in nature. So right now, Billy, that you mentioned it brought him to mind because, and I mirror those sentiments too. It's a beautiful tradition, and you guys are more than welcome to come down to observe it, check it out, hang out for a whole weekend, hang out with Al-Zafar Shrine. It's a lot of fun. So, and I love sharing the story of the birthday celebration that happens, because a lot of people, we kind of still don't understand why it happens, but we're not complaining. It's beautiful, it's awesome, and it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, no, that is a tradition that I would really like to go and see in person, and I think it would be very worthwhile to organize like a lodge trip of sorts.
Yes, field trip down to Laredo.
Oh man, that would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ruben, are there any thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Well, no, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me. It's an honor to talk with you guys for quite some time about Masonry, and congratulations on the podcast. Y'all do a great job.
Oh,
I love. I love listening to it in the morning. You guys have had some great guests, and I'm honored to be among those guests. Thank you so much for everything you do for the fraternity. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at MasoniCon. So it's gonna be some good times. And I just want to give a big shout out to Laredo Shrine Club, the Laredo 547. Love those guys and everybody else that we've talked about today. Thank you for making the fraternity what it is. You know, this because of the guys of this fraternity that makes me proud to be a Mason. It's not much the history. It's not the rings we wear or the decals. It's the quality of the gentleman that Freemasonry attracts. That's why I'm so proud of it. So I want to give a big thank you to all Masons out there for making the craft what it is.
Oh, fantastic. So, folks, if you would like to learn more about Fort Worth Lodge or the podcast, you can visit us at www.fortworth148.org. You can find us on Facebook. We are at Fort Worth Lodge 148. Our email is fortworthlodge148@gmail.com. And you can learn more about Texas MasoniCon at www.texasmasonicon.com. That's texasmasonicon.com. We are at Texas MasoniCon on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The event itself is on July 27th, and you can pre-order tickets for $65. And we do have a festive board on Friday night. Yeah, by the time this episode comes out, it will be about a week and a half away, I think. So, yeah, get your tickets while you still can. Ruben, is there any contact info or show info that you would like to leave with the listeners? And how can I catch your radio show?
Actually, you can. Well, my show's live from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. If you go to www.xhgts.com, that's xhgts.com, and just click on that sexy play button, and you'll hear me yakking away for an entire hour, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. And I'm on Facebook too, Ruben Bazan the Third, RUBEN BAZAN the Third. Like me, follow me, add me, whatever it's called. That's pretty much it. Our Laredo Masonic Lodge number 547 Facebook page. Just look us up there too. And again, I want to extend the invitation to every Texan Mason out there to come by, visit Laredo Lodge, and make yourselves at home here too.
Fantastic. Billy, do you want to sign us off?
I'll start. This is Billy Hamilton signing off.
This is Gabe Yagish signing off.
This is Ruben Bazan, Laredo Lodge 547 signing off. Thank you boys so much.